You're tuned in to Oilers Nation every day with Tyler Yaremchuk, live every weekday on the Nation Network YouTube.
How long did it take the Oilers to blow their lead against the New Jersey Devils last night? Well, about as long as it's taken me to do this intro. 7.41 seconds. Let's get to the lead. That hockey game was fun for like 55 minutes. It was wildly entertaining. The Oilers brought it. They played really well. They're the first team this year to put up 25 plus shots on goal on the New Jersey Devils, and yet we're sitting here empty-handed. No points to show for it. The Oilers lose 4-3 in regulation. We'll break it all down today on Oilers Nation Everyday, as always, coming to you live from the Sports Closet studio. They've outfitted us with this nice Oilers third jersey, the vintage hoodie, the new hat as well. You can check it all out, sportscloset.ca. If you're from out of town, you can order it in. Also, 3 locations in the Edmonton area. You know them. You love them. St. Albert, Sherwood Park, and Kingsway Mall. 4-3 the final last night. The Oilers with, we'll call it a choke job, but if we're being honest, that's probably a little bit too harsh of a statement. I thought they played really well. I thought they very easily could have put that game away earlier in the third period with multiple chances. Zach Hyman, I think, had 3 shots in the third period. Connor McDavid had a couple of rushes. Cody Ceci somehow missed a wide open net on a 2-on-1. Not that you ever really blame a guy like Cody Ceci for not being able to finish off his chances. And Evan Bouchard got absolutely robbed by Vitek Vanacek. It happens. Sometimes you run into a hot goalie. Sometimes you take your foot off the gas against a good team and it bites you in the ass. Last night, there were a lot of people who were very upset about the way that third period played out. And I get it. In the moment, it's frustrating. It sucks. That was 2 points that they very easily could have had. They definitely should have had. And they walk away from the game with nothing. It's really, really frustrating in the moment. But I think most fans, I would hope at least, can wake up this morning, take a look at the standings, go, hey, the Oilers are 7-4. It's a pretty good spot to be in. Hey, that was a good game last night. A bunch of you in the chat yesterday said the Devils aren't going to be able to keep up this level of play. The Devils aren't actually this good. They are that good, and I hope you saw that last night. That blue line, while maybe it doesn't have a lot of household names outside of a guy like Dougie Hamilton, they're legit. Jonas Siegenthaler was good last night. Hamilton had a zillion shots on net. That blue line is solid. They're getting decent goaltending, and their forward depth is surprisingly good. Miles Wood's playing on their 4th line. He scored 2 goals last night. That Devils team is legit, and I don't think people should be viewing a loss to the New Jersey Devils the same that they would view a loss to, I don't know, if they would have lost to Chicago or even the loss to Buffalo, because I think those 2 teams are on different levels as well. That's a really damn good hockey team that they have there in New Jersey, and the Oilers skated with them, played with them. Matt Larkin today on Daily Faceoff Live went as far as to wonder, maybe the Devils and the Oilers was a Stanley Cup preview here in early November. It could be if the Devils get goaltending. I'm telling you, they're that good. And the Oilers played with them. And the Oilers probably, deserved is a weird word, but I thought they very easily could have won that game. They didn't. I'm not freaking out about it, though. Blowing 3-goal leads suck, but let's chill with the overreactions. They've had worse games. Someone was tweeting me yesterday because I said it was an entertaining game. I said, wow, what a wildly entertaining evening of hockey. Because it was. The back and forth action. Think about that goal where Devils are coming down the other way. Nurse makes a great play, his best play of the season. And I'm counting his goals that he's scored in that. His best play of the year. Sliding, breaking up that play. Boom, play goes back the other way, back of the net. Oilers score. 4th line contributed with a goal. That's a big plus. That game was entertaining, and someone was tweeting me, what are you talking about entertaining? Watching the Oilers play like shit isn't entertaining. Blah, 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 blah. That was a fun hockey game. Yes, the Oilers didn't get the result, but they played good against a good team, and you were on the edge of your seat for the entire 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes. I'm not upset with that loss. Give me your take. We're live on the Nation Network YouTube. I'm reading the chat right now. We'll get Liam's take in just a second here as well. Rusty was in before the show started, said tough loss last night. The Devils played extremely well. The Oilers just couldn't bury the chances they got. Fun game to watch, though. New win streak starts on Saturday. Bang on, Rusty. And you know what? I think that's a good point. He brought up the win streak. If the Oilers had lost 4 games in a row and blew that game last night, I'd be livid. I'd be mad. I'd be saying, hey, not a playoff team if you can't hold on to leads like that. But they were on a 5-game heater. They're looking great. They had a bad 5-minute stretch. I don't think that's the end of the world. McKay says, didn't mind how the Oilers played, but they could have scored a couple times and obviously could have tightened up the D. I wouldn't blame much on Stu. I wouldn't blame much on Stu either. Rusty says the only one he wants back is the third one. I think you're bang on with that. We'll see the goal here that put them or tied the game. Yeah, like Skinner's going to want that one back. It barely squeaks through. It's a guy who's falling down at the top of the circles who gets a wrister off. You want that one back. Sure. The Brat one, I mean, what is Skinner going to do? There's nothing he can do about this one. It's just that the D got caught flat-footed. Maybe you could say Woodcroft. I think we have the highlight up here. I think you could say maybe Woodcroft shouldn't have gone with Niemelainen and Barry in that situation. You know, you just gave up the tying goal. You probably want a bit more of a calming presence on the ice. I would think you go with a more veteran, experienced duo there. A more dependable duo is maybe the better way to put that. So, you know, maybe a mistake from Woodcroft in that situation. But again, you're not sitting there being like, watch, we're going to get lit up 2 times in 7 seconds here. Draisaitl was taking the draw. He was flat-footed after he lost the draw. He didn't come back at all. However, that's life. Let's bring in our boy Liam here for a quick take. Also, our friend Baggedmilk's going to stop by right away for the bro down. But Liam, you've heard me rant and riff about this game. For everyone saying they can't finish, they're third in goals per game. For everyone saying that's an unacceptable loss, they're second in the Pacific Division. Do you see any reason to freak out about that loss last night?
No, not particularly. Like, obviously, you don't want to blow leads in games, especially at home. Like, it's not great. And in 7 seconds, that's sounds like a
Yeah.
recipe for disaster, which it truly was. But I wouldn't worry too much. Like, sometimes things aren't gonna go your way. There's 82 games in a season. No team has ever gone 82-0 for a reason. New Jersey is a very good team. I said it on the show yesterday. This is probably the best team the Oilers have faced this season. A lot of people said Carolina, but at that time going into that game, Carolina hadn't played a team like the Oilers. New
Yep.
Jersey is pretty battle tested right now, and they've done a really good job. And they've got a lot of talent on that team. Dougie Hamilton, Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, Jack Hughes is another one. Like, this isn't something to be ashamed of if you're an Oilers fan or an Oilers player. Like, New Jersey's going to be good. We got to get used to that, I think, and we don't see them very often. But there was chances in that game where you're like, the Yamamoto one, for example, I do think if Yamamoto had a bit more confidence in him, that probably would have gone in. Or,
Yeah.
there was a bunch of ones, even the Evander Kane one where he drew the penalty, then I believe he missed the net. There was just so many chances, like Draisaitl at the end of the period too. Like, sometimes it just happens, and you got to respect your opponent. Like I said, New Jersey's a good team. The Oilers are a good team. You're not going to win every single night.
Tyson says too many missed grade A chances. If they bury them, he mentions Yamamoto and Cody Ceci, we have a very different outcome. Add Bouchard into that list too. Add Zach Hyman into that list. He had a couple of great looks in front of the net. Even the one at the end of the second period would have changed it. Yeah, like if you finish your chances, you win that game. Some nights the goalie stands on his head. Unfortunately, that's happened a few times to the Oilers. That's life. Chris says you can't let teams take 40-plus shots on the goalie. Yeah. I mean, that's not likely. That's not a recipe for success, but it's not like the Oilers have been making a habit of that. They have been probably giving up more shots than you'd like, but they gave up 43 to the Devils, 42 to the Flames twice, and 40 to the Canes. Every other game's been under 40. And in this instance, against the Devils, guess what? They've been putting up 40 shots against everyone. They put up 53 against Columbus, 43 against the Islanders, 43 against the Oilers, 41 against the Ducks, 41 against the Capitals, 41 against the Red Wings, 39 against the Red Wings. Like, they've been right up around that 40 goal mark. Heading into that game, they were averaging over 40 shots a game. Like, the Devils did what the Devils have been doing for the entire first 3 weeks of the season. So again, like, Guitar Maniacs, this isn't basketball. No matter how good your players are, no team's ever going to go 73-9. And I thought about that last night too. Again, when people were in my mentions telling me I'm an idiot for saying I was entertained by the game, which was hilarious, I was just sitting there like, hey, if you're going to be, and I love the diehard energy. Don't get me wrong. That is great. That is what makes Oilers fans a ton of fun to be around. That's what makes Oilers Nation what it is. If the Oilers are going to be a 104-point team, which is what they were last year, they're going to lose 30 times this year. If you're going to sit there and freak out and lose your mind on every loss, there's going to be 30 really, really long nights for you. Last night was one of those games again. If they blew that against Anaheim, if they blew that against Arizona, Chicago, whoever, I'd be like, yeah, that's a problem. Sometimes good teams just get you, and the Devils got them. And as Marshawn Lynch says, you just got to get yours before you get got. And last night, the Oilers got. On Saturday, they got to make sure they can get theirs. Am I right, Liam? Come on. It's a good Marshawn
I was
Lynch
not
quote.
expecting a Marshawn Lynch quote on this show today, so that caught me off guard. But it's true. Like, you can't win them all, you know? Like,
And you know what I did like, actually?
What's that?
Is we talked about my key to the game yesterday was I said, hey, just buy into the chaos factor. The Devils thrive off like a good system, right? They're very good at 5-on-5. Lindy Ruff has them playing very structured. I said, just go pure chaos run and gun and see if you can beat them. And to the Oilers' credit, they did that. And to the Devils' credit, they adapted surprisingly well.
I thought the first goal by McDavid was very Oilers-like in the chaos factor, where CC gets burnt because he's flat-footed, then it turns into a 2-on-1. Nurse intercepts it, then it goes up the other end and McDavid scores. It's just kind of, I feel like that's very much Edmonton Oilers hockey. And yeah, just buy into the chaos. And they played well for basically the entire game besides that 7 seconds. So let's not blow this out of the lead. What did you say the Lynch was? What Lynch quote was? You got to get before you get got.
You got to get yours before you get got or something like that. I don't know. I forget what I said already.
T-shirt idea, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe that's a Nation Gear idea. Kennedy, get on it. All right, it is Friday here on Oilers Nation every day, and when it's Friday, you know what that means. We get to our boy Baggedmilk with the bro down.
It's Friday, so you know what that means? It's time for the bro down with Baggedmilk.
Yes, that's what I just said. The Bro Down with Baggedmilk is brought to you by Cornerstone Insurance. You can find them online, cornerstoneins.ca. They are local. They are a proud teammate of Oilers Nation. And when Baggedmilk's cruising in the Alpha, or I'm chugging along in the Nation truck, Cornerstone Insurance has our back. Am I right, Baggedmilk?
Of course. Of course. The only insurance agency you could ever need. They've got everything you need to cover yourself, Tyler. 100%.
Shout out to my guy, Bill. All right. Last night, the Oilers could have used another insurance marker, I suppose. How did you feel about that loss last night?
Well, I was listening to you and Liam talk before I came in, and were people really that upset about it?
There were a few people last night on Twitter who were like just mad that they blew the lead, unacceptable, all of that kind of stuff. They lost to a good team. Sometimes you let your foot off the gas, it bites you in the ass. I like to think that's a lesson they just learned last night.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was with you. That was a really entertaining hockey game, and unfortunately, the Oilers just came out on the wrong side of it. If we're going to nitpick a little bit, which sounds like that's what we're doing, the Oilers could have won that hockey game had they cashed in any of the, 5, 6, 7 grade A chances they had in the third period.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one of those things where sometimes you got to tip your cap to a goaltender who just kind of came in relief. Vanacek came in relief when Blackwood left, and he played really well. Outside of that one goal he gave up almost immediately on the power play when he was still cold, the dude was lights out. And I think about the Yamamoto one you mentioned. The most obvious one was Cody Ceci had a tap in, and somehow it went 3 feet wide. I have no idea how that happened, but I don't think this is anything to get overly rattled about, outside of maybe, obviously you want the Oilers to do a better job in the third period when they're up by 2 of closing out a game, but sometimes that's going to happen. Sometimes it's going to happen. And unfortunately, the New Jersey Devils got 17 shots in the third period, and too many of them went in. What are you going to do?
Tyler Yamamoto missed a great chance. That guy may never score again. Like, I feel for him. He's snake bit. He's fumbling the puck. He's clearly lacking confidence. He's nowhere near the player he was towards the end of last season.
The snake bite is real with Yamo right now. He's getting all kinds of chances, and he just cannot sink anything. He's in a spot right now, he needs somebody to bank one in off his ass or something like that, just to get a little positive mojo going, because he's had some absolute beauty chances lately, and nothing is going in for the guy.
Yeah. Another guy up front who I'm torn on this one, and I want to have, this is where I want our conversation to go for the next few minutes. It's Dylan Holloway. He keeps making poor decisions with the puck at times. He's turning over a lot of pucks, but then he makes it. Was that a little Frank toy squeak?
Yeah, Frank's got a squeaker toy, and of course he brings it into the room as soon as I jump on with you.
Well, he's probably also very passionate about Dylan Holloway. Anyways, he plays 4 minutes and 35 seconds last night, the least amongst any Oilers player. He makes a great play in the offensive zone that eventually leads to the Derek Ryan goal. He also had a brutal turnover that led to the first Miles Wood goal. I don't know. I honestly don't know what they should do with this guy because I see the value in having him in the lineup. I see the value in letting him gain confidence at the NHL level. But then I sit there and I go, why are you letting a first-round pick play 4.5 minutes on the fourth line when he could be playing 20 plus in Bakersfield?
I just wrote about Dylan Holloway at Oilersnation.com just, 30 minutes ago. And to me, he's averaging just over 7 minutes a night. Last night, like you said, 4.5. Brutal giveaway on the first New Jersey goal, but he's trying stuff, and with a young, skilled player, he's going to make mistakes like that. And there's two options really for the Oilers. You let him work through it at the NHL level, or my preference would be that he goes back to Bakersfield and instead of playing 4.5 minutes, he's playing 20 plus minutes in all situations. You can't tell me him going to Bakersfield, getting a little bit of confidence back, being a big fish in a small pond is going to hurt his development at this stage. I would rather have somebody else playing those fourth line minutes than Holloway just sitting there with the best seat in the house. I think that this is a player that's going to be very important for the Oilers. He already is. And that's why I think just let him develop, let him play, because right now you're not getting the most out of him and you're not even using him all that much. So I think it's kind of a waste right now. I get the angle that there's some value in practicing with the NHL club, but I would also counter by saying there's probably equal or more value in him playing a lot of minutes in all situations.
And Patrick brings up, I think an interesting counterpoint to what me and you have said. He goes, but that line is producing. Derek Ryan has goals in back-to-back games. Why change things that have given us a 5-1-0 record? And I think it's one of those, this is how I've worded it in the past. If you think Dylan Holloway over Brad Malone is like 10% better, 15% better, like Holloway is the better player. Okay, if this was April or round one of the playoffs, I'd be like, yep, you put your best players in the lineup. Right now, I think there needs to be a little bit of, okay, maybe he gives us, this little bit of a better chance to win a hockey game, but it's not good for his development, his future. He's a first-round pick. You want this guy to be a member of your top 6 for the next decade. You need to prioritize that over that little slight advantage he might give you over a guy like Malone and prioritize Holloway's development a little bit.
Yeah, we're still in November and I'm with you. Like if this was a playoff run and they need some skill and they need an influx of skill, Holloway makes a world of sense. But right now, the Oilers are still winning. I just think it's better for him to get slow played a little bit because yes, he's got a couple of assists now and he's making the odd play here and there, but he's also coughing up some pretty costly giveaways that are ending up in the back of his net. If he does that down with the Bakersfield Condors, nobody cares. But the Edmonton Oilers are in win now mode. They can't be giving up goals like what happened last night in the first one against New Jersey. So I just think that he's got to learn and it's going to take him some time. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't really understand why he has to be here right now, especially because he's playing so few minutes. Yeah, sure, the fourth line is getting some stuff done from time to time. But like you said, is Brad Malone really going to sink that line if it's him over Holloway? I don't think so. How can they get Matthias Janmark up here? Like they signed him for a reason. I know they've got cap issues they need to navigate to make that work, but at some point you have to try and figure it out. I just think you won't be able to convince me, at least at this point, until Holloway gets elevated in the lineup and actually plays with skilled players regularly, that having him in the NHL lineup is more valuable to his personal development or the team overall long term than having him in Bakersfield.
The captain, Ryan Felton, checking in. He says, send to Bako, get his confidence up and more playing time. Chris says, give Hamblin a look and give Hollywood more time to develop. The one guy who's actually is interesting to me, Baggedmilk, is Tyler Benson. Daniel Nugent-Bowman is saying he's skating in place of Evander Kane today at practice. I mean, obviously that just means Kane's day-to-day or whatever, but it also means Benson's probably getting close to being able to return. And he had a good preseason. Maybe Tyler Benson's a guy who, once he's healthy, he takes that Holloway spot. He gives you a little bit of offense on that fourth line. And maybe that's what needs to happen to trigger Holloway being sent down.
That is a great fit. Tyler Benson in that spot is a great fit because, like you said, he's skilled. He can move the puck. He's got a little bit of sandpaper to his game that he's developed over the last couple of years. He's got his at-bats in the AHL, had a really solid training camp, and it was almost unfortunate that he got hurt because I was curious to see how the Oilers were going to handle him anyway. I think that is a great spot for Tyler Benson to come in, and then it just lets Holloway go down. It's quiet. He can get some confidence. He can score some goals. He can get recalled in January when he's feeling good about his game, and we're going to be much better off down the stretch.
Patrick says maybe you trade Yamamoto for Susie, open up the second line for Holloway. I think that's a not good idea. Selling players on cold streaks is generally not a good way to do business.
Yama's taking some heat, hey? Like, it's interesting how this is going. I do too, because the snake bite is real. It's almost one of those ones where we have to head out into the streets and find a sacrifice for the kid because he's putting the work in. He's grinding. There was the other night when Evander Kane got a hat trick against Nashville. One of those goals came as a result of some great Yamamoto hustle and forechecking. But unfortunately, he's not getting the luck when it comes to actually putting the puck in the net. So I'm with you. I feel for Yamo. I feel like he's always been a streaky scorer, but he really needs one just to get some confidence going. Got to get the monkey off his back somehow.
Two more for you. Is there anything more unhinged than learning about the fact Waz had never had an alcoholic Caesar and he'd just been drinking virgin Caesars his whole life?
That was one of the weirdest revelations that came from Twitter last night. Was Waz is like, "Hey, Baggedmilk, I'm having a Caesar at the game," and I'm like, "I'm proud of you, buddy." And he's like, "Well, before I would have virgin Caesars at my old job, and they would sneak them to me." I'm like, "What?" Like the whole thing was odd to me. Like, listen, I'm a huge Caesar guy. I love them. They're delicious. I could drink a pile of them right now. But to me, if there's no business end of the Caesar, meaning the alcohol, that's not what I'm going for as a drink of choice, you know?
I want to like Caesars. And there's so many days where I'll sit there and like, I'll be like, damn, this is the time when Caesar drinkers thrive. Like Sunday morning watching football or something like that. I want to love them so bad because I want to be a guy who like makes my own at home and all that. I can't do it. I don't know why.
I think that you just kind of got to force a couple of down. I don't know, like when you started drinking beer for the first time, there's no way you like the taste, right?
No, I've told this story on Real Life before. I remember the first time like I ever like drank beer, like went to a party with my buddies. I got my sister to buy it for me and she bought me Rickard's Red, which is like not it's a good beer now, but that's a terrible starter beer.
One. Yeah, that's an aggressive one for your first beers.
I don't think I touched beer again for like 6 months.
I think you need to treat it like that. I think that once you have like go to a place that has a good Caesar, like a really good one, or I'll even make you one. I make great Caesars. Okay. You just get a couple of them in, you develop the taste, and all of a sudden it's Sunday morning, like you said, you're watching football, having brunch, and the Caesars just start flowing. They're magical. So yeah, was finally discovering that adding alcohol into the Caesar is better was a revelation I did not expect to see coming last night.
That's good. Have you had a chance to dig into the new Drake album?
Oh, buddy, I've been listening to it all morning. It slaps.
It's so good.
This thing is so good. It is so good. Major Distribution, a favorite track so far. Circo Loco, I love. Broke Boys is great. There's just jam after jam on this thing. I love it. I'm still mad about yesterday, though, Tyler. If you listen to Real Life yesterday, you learned that Aubrey bamboozled me with some deepfake videos. So I'm still mad at him, but he's getting back into my good graces with this album.
Yeah, Rich Flex, legit. I think Circo Loco is probably the best song on the album. Broke Boys is really good. More M's is really good. The whole thing, I think it's no skips. It's unreal. McKay agrees too. He says, Drake album's so good, Tyler. I agree. 100%. Well, we got listening for the weekend. Maybe I'll dig into a Caesar or something. But you feel better, Baggedmilk. I know you've been under the weather.
Yeah, day 3 has been a grind, buddy. This is the worst day of all. So I'm hoping that there's light at the end of the tunnel here.
All right, sounds good. Have a good weekend, buddy, and we'll chat soon.
Yep, talk to you later.
All right, let's get into the wrap for today's show. I want to bring in Liam for a quick take before we get to our betting. Liam, some people are saying we should bring up Klim Kostin to play on the fourth line. You're our resident prospect guy. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good of an idea is that?
Probably about a 2 at most. He's not ready yet. He's like -6 on the season so far through like 6 or 7 games, he's just not feeling himself at the moment. I think eventually he'll be able to contribute, but there's a lot better options in Bakersfield right now.
You know what? You know what would be a good idea? Someone who's due to make their show debut is our friend Ryan Holt, Condors play-by-play guy. I think Ryan Holt might be due for a little hit next week. Maybe we'll chat some Bakersfield Condors next year. Nice job with the poll, asking the people in the chat if they like Caesars, Liam. I like this idea from Bobby, just on the topic of Yamamoto. Maybe you try him as the net front guy on the power play, just to give him a couple PP looks until he puts one in. Pull off Kane or Hyman, make him the net front guy. The power play is mostly run by 93, 29, and 97. And I actually don't think it's that poor of an idea. You know, he right now feels like Yamamoto's in a spot where he needs one to go off his ass, and then he'll get his mojo back.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, isn't he? Like, we all know what Yamamoto is. He's a streaky scoring forward who can contribute in other ways other than scoring. But yeah, like, put him on the power play. Like, the guys, other than there's kind of 3 guys who run it, right? Like, he doesn't even need to do anything. Just stand there and get your blade on the end of a shot, and hopefully it goes in. And maybe that's what gets him going. But yeah, like you said, like he just needs something to work for him. But Baggedmilk said it as well. Like, he did really well on that one goal the other day, and you kind of hope that will get the juices flowing. I think it's going to come for him. We just got to be patient and hold out. But people suggesting trading him, I don't think that's a great idea at the moment. It doesn't make the Oilers better trading Yamamoto away.
No, like, they still need that forward depth. I wouldn't move him at all. Chris says last year's power play 2 was firing nicely and it disappeared this year. They're kind of going back to not giving him a ton of ice time though, right? Like, we're not seeing a lot of that top line jumping off after a minute. Like, when that second unit's getting time, it's kind of for the last like 8 seconds.
Yeah, they're not playing a lot. I think we actually saw it. Who did they play the other day? Whoever it was at home, Nashville. We saw them a little bit more. But also, when you have the 2 best players in the world, they should just play the entire power play. Like, you're an advantage. Just play your advantage.
Yeah, 100%. Let's get to our betting for today, courtesy of our friends over at Betway. Liam, you're riding a nice hot streak. Zach Hyman, our guy, picking up over 3.5 shots on goal yesterday at a very nice plus 125. So what do you got tonight?
Yeah, we went 2-0 again yesterday with the McDavid power play point 2, and then also, what was the other one? We had McDavid shots. We went 4 McDavid yesterday. So it is a low plate tonight in the NHL. There is one game this evening. Is one game going on right now. I believe it's in Finland. I think they're in Finland.
It's in Finland,
and it's 1-0 Columbus last time I checked as we speak, playing Colorado. So I've been pretty hot. I think I've only lost 2 bets this week, so I'm gonna try and keep the spice alive and go with Tage Thompson, 2 points tonight or more against Carolina. He is probably the hottest player in the league right now. What does he have, like 9 or 10 points, something like that in 3 games? So hopefully that keeps going tonight. Get a couple more, and then also the over. This is hitting 3 straight games for Buffalo and 3 of the last 4 for the Carolina Hurricanes. So hopefully we'll see a lot of goals tonight in the one game in the NHL this evening.
I'm with you. I love the over at -110 or -112 there. I agree with you. 3 of the last 4 for each of these teams. Like you said, 3 straight for Buffalo. The over is one of my recommended plays. Also, the Martin Necas shot prop. It's set at 2.5. It's paying -120. He's hit this thing in 4 of his last 5 and crushed it in a few of those games. Necas is playing unreal. The Sabres are prone to giving up a lot of shots on goal. I think he's a guy who could fire off 3 easily tonight.
Yeah, Necas, I think he's also just one of the hottest players in the league right now, too. So he's feeling himself, that's for sure. Any NFL picks quickly?
Yes, I do. Remember, in the last 3 weeks, I am up 5.1 units on my NFL plays. I'm giving a teaser, a spread, and a player prop. My teaser tonight, I'm taking the this weekend, I'm taking the Buffalo Bills against the Jets, teasing the Bills down to -5.5, and then I'm teasing the Bengals down to -1 and playing those 2 together. My favorite spread bet this week is the Vikings -3 against the Commanders. Yes, Taylor Heineke, great story, all of that. But I think I know Minnesota is a good team. They should be able to cover that 3, even though they're on the road. And the 2 player props I like, I actually have 4 NFL plays. Stephon Diggs over 79.5. He crushes this pretty much every week. If the books aren't going to adjust, I'm going to keep making money off it. I don't think the Jets are that good of a team. T. Higgins over 74.5. No Jamar Chase. It wasn't a great Monday night for Higgins and the guys, but I think they'll be hungry to bounce back. I think Burrow gets the arm going in that matchup. So teaser of Bills and Bengals, Vikings on the spread, Diggs and Higgins over their receiving props.
I'm going to go with the Packers over the Lions, 3.5. The Lions
And you're
stink,
a Lions guy.
trust me. Yeah, and I'm a Lions guy, and we just traded our best player to one of our rivals, so that's that for an upgraded second-round pick. That's for another show. So I'll go Green Bay spread 3.5. Lions stink. They want to stink. Let them stink. I'm going to go with the division leaders, the Atlanta Falcons, +3 on the spread. They play the Chargers, and the Chargers' whole receiving core is watching from the stands on Sunday. So this could be a game where the Falcons can maybe take a little bit of advantage. I might even look at the money line a little bit, depending on how things go the next couple of days, +135 on the money line for the Falcons, who are at home.
All right, there you go. There is our bets, courtesy of our friends at Betway 19+. Please play responsibly. NFL picks, NHL picks, all locked in. But we're going to be back tomorrow with another weekend edition of Oilers Nation Everyday. Also, Liam and I and Baggedmilk and Rick and Dan are all hopping over to do a fresh episode of Oilers Nation Radio, where Harner Ryan Singh is going to stop by for a quick visit as well. So plenty of content still coming out today and tomorrow on Oilers Nation. 2 o'clock puck drop between the Oilers and Stars as well. Shout out to our friends at the Sports Closet, sportscloset.ca. Sherwood Ford, the giant sponsor of all of our game day shows. Like I said, we'll be live same time tomorrow. So enjoy your Friday night, and we hope to see you then. Cheers.